What's going on? It's Craig Bennett, aka Cash Keg, coming at you for DFS Army's NBA First Look. Gonna break down these 4 games tomorrow. One thing to note is start time is brought up 1 p.m. Eastern time instead of 1:30. So if you're making those lineups, just realize that we are 30 minutes early tomorrow. Again, same 4 games tomorrow on Thursday that there was on Tuesday. So again, we're gonna break these things down. And if you're not a part of DFS Army, please head on over. Sign up. DFSArmy.com. Use promo code CashCake. Save 20%. And I'll be dropping another sports betting. Man, it's been a long day. Props bet video. We did pretty good today. Hit 4-1 the last 3 days. 10-2. I'll be dropping that later, so watch out for that. But that's neither here nor there. Let's jump into these games real quick and see what they're all about. All right, I'll go through FanDuel and DraftKings pricing, both teams, go through some injury news, talk about maybe some ways we can leverage, kind of like today, where we got Royce O'Neal for 10% on FanDuel. He was just way too cheap. He put up almost 40. Faded Mitchell. For the most part on FanDuel, he's fine. He put up 40 points, but didn't kill you. So there's ways you can get over the field here as the public kind of chases, the recency bias on some of these games. So with that, let's go the first game at 1 o'clock. Again, it's an earlier start time at 1 o'clock. It's Miami at Indiana, and we have a 215 over under with Miami favored by 4. Now, TJ Warren is dealing with a bit of an injury in his foot, but plantar fasciitis. He says he's going to play. He's active. I'm not really worried about that one. Victor Oladipo got poked in the eye pretty damn good. He's questionable. Game time decision. I think he's going to play. I really do. So that kind of hurts a little bit of the value on that team if they're all playing. But they need him for this Miami team. On the other side of the ball, Jay Crowder. He is questionable. So if he sits, it was kind of crazy. I thought we'd see a little bit of none. But he was he did not play. Coach's decision, which is a little bit odd. But maybe we see a little more Kelly Olynyk if Jay Crowder can't go, or a little bit more Iggy. So those are the guys we can kind of look at in this first game. But over here on FanDuel, we'll first look at on the Heat side of the ball and look at some prices and see what they did for us. Jimmy Butler up to 8,100. I don't think that's high enough. I think, it's playoffs. Jimmy Butler, 8,100 is fine there. So they raised them a little bit. Bam Adebayo's 8K as well. So they got about a $400 price pump from Tuesday. Dragic 6,200. That's still too cheap. He's putting in massive minutes. We didn't see none. We're probably going to see a short rotation here, I would assume. So 34 minutes, put up 40 fantasy points. Really turned it on that second half. 6 rebounds, 5 assists. So no problem there. Hero, again, Hero's 4,600. Put up 25 fantasy points, 33 minutes. I think that's fair. I think that's more of a GPP play for me. On a slate like this, but he is squarely in play. None, again, was a do not play, so we have to kind of see what Spoelstrom's going to do, if he's going to play him a little bit, or maybe he's just going to be out of the rotation and Dragic's going to play a ton of minutes here. So that's something we do have to look at. Kelly Olynyk, 3,600. Again, if we do get Crowder out, I'll take a couple stabs at this. He only played 13 minutes, put up 10 fantasy points, but we could see some more minutes out of him. So I do like that. And that's about all on this team. Duncan Robinson, 4,200, just tournaments only. We did talk about, Iggy, 3,500 for Iguodala. Put up 11 fantasy points in 24 minutes. So he might be a GPP dart, but nothing I'm too overly excited on. Over on the Pacer side here at FanDuel, TJ Warren, 7,700. Again, I was kind of off him a little bit because of Butler, but he put up 46 fantasy points in 37 minutes. So there might be some people that chase onto that. I don't think I'll get on it, especially if we get Depot's going to play. I think it's a tournament only, not a cash play. Brogdon's up to 7,400. If Depot sits, I really like Brogdon. If Depot plays, I still like Brogdon, but it just takes a little bit of luster off of him. I can never play Turner for 6,200. I just can't. I don't like playing the guy. He did put up 29 fantasy points in 32 minutes. Just not a big fan. He had to get 5 blocks there to get there. Aaron Holiday, 3,900. Way better play if Depot doesn't suit up. Put up 15 fantasy points in 16 minutes. So maybe we see a little bit more out of him. And then it's really hard to trust all these guys. They're just tournament. McConnell, 3,600. He does get a little bit of run. Justin Holiday, with Warren playing, I don't really like that. So basically, it's just Warren, Brogdon. Depot's 5,600 over here, so maybe it's something we can look at if he does play. It's his eye. If he does play, that's cheap enough where he could hit value, and it just kind of takes the whole luster out of all these guys. So let's head on over to DraftKings and look at the pricing on these guys. First on the Miami side of the ball, Butler 7,900, Bam 75. I'm going to lock in Bam again. I think that's just automatically core play at that price. He just owned Turner. 35 minutes, put up 46 fantasy points, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks, 6 assists. Love this price over at DraftKings. I'll have a ton of that. Dragic, again, too cheap, 5,900. What are you doing over here, DraftKings? Butler, 7,900. I'll go right back there. I like all three of these guys, and I'll probably play them all again. Hero, 5,200. I would much rather pay 7,700 more for Dragic here. Kelly O, 4,300 over here at DraftKings. Nunn, 4,800. Again, I think you just stick with the top three. Maybe throw a little bit of Jelly O in there for tournaments. Iggy's 3,400. Again, if Crowder suits up, he is 4K. But Iggy could be interesting at 3,400, I guess. But no one that I absolutely love. I do love the pricing on these Miami guys over here on DraftKings. Let's flip on over to the Indiana side on DraftKings. TJ Warren, 8,100. No, thank you. I don't want any part of that. Tournaments, if you're playing 150, maybe a sprinkle, but I don't love it. Brogdon at 6,900. That is very playable. I have no problem playing 6,900 for Brogdon. He put up 40 fantasy points in 39 minutes. Only shot 33% from the field, 1 from 6 from 3. So 22 minutes, 10 assists. Nothing that I absolutely love, but at the same time, he can get 6x plus with that price tag. So I don't mind bringing that back with him. I would much rather play Brogdon here and Oladipo 6,200. I would just rather play Brogdon. Oladipo would be more of a tournament play if he can play. And then Aaron Holiday at 4K. TJ McConnell at 3,400 could be interesting as a value guy. Only played 13 minutes, but put up 12 fantasy points. He gets it done when he gets the minutes. It's all about the minutes with him. We could look at Sumner. He did play 27 minutes, only put up 13 fantasy points. So maybe a deep GPP play. But if Depot plays, it's going to hurt all these value guards. So I wouldn't get overly excited. Let's head on over to the next game, but we'll stick on DraftKings. We got OKC at Houston. 226.5 over under. We still have Westbrook out on the Houston side. Over on OKC, Dort is still out. I think we're just going to see a bunch of Schroeder. But they'll throw, they'll start, I'm sure they'll start Ferguson, and they'll throw a bunch of, Diallo, Robertson, Baisley. They'll get a bunch of those guys, but I don't think they'll see enough minutes to really do anything exciting. But we'll start on the OKC side. And but before we jump into this, again, if you're not a part of DFSArmy, head on over there, sign up, use promo code CashCake, get in there, cheat sheets every day. The core's doing really well today. Had O'Neal as a value core piece. We went back to the well, like we talked about. We'll get off Mitchell. So we had some good calls today. If you want to see those in our VIP room, head on over, sign up, use promo code CashCake, save yourself 20% lifetime member. And if you're watching this on YouTube, if you don't mind, give me a thumbs up, man. Hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. I love breaking these down for you, but really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up, subscribe button, and let's keep on rolling over here. OKC, Chris Paul, 8K. That is a lot for Chris Paul. Put up 51 points. He's got it out for Houston. I would much rather play Chris Paul, 8,000 for Chris Paul than I would Warren, 8,100. Played 37 minutes, shot 50% from the field, only 14 points, but almost had a triple-double, 20 points, 9 assists, 10 rebounds. So I think you can pay that. SGA, 6,300, 17 points in 35 minutes. It's just pathetic. I would still fade this. It's not somebody that I'd get on because he's down. I think with Schroeder back, it kind of hurts him here. 32 minutes, only put up 11 fantasy points. I had a lot of Schroeder. I thought he was going to do better. He only shot 25% from the field. Absolutely killed him. Played the minutes. So I'll go right back here, especially at this price. I don't think you have to, when a guy, his ownership's going to be way down because of how bad he played. Steven Adams just absolutely mauled these guys underneath. He is only 5,600 on DraftKings. This is an easy center position here. I think I'll match up probably on DraftKings, first looking at it. Bam Adebayo and Steven Adams, just pair them together because, man, in only 28 minutes, Shot 7 for 13, put up 17 points, 12 rebounds. They don't have nobody. Tucker's trying to guard him. Green, they don't have anyone that can guard him. So no problem throwing Steven Adams in there. Like I said, Schroeder 5,500 is more of a tournament play, but he has upside, and he'll be really low owned because of what he did. I can't go down here to any of the other guys. Even Ferguson starting 3,300. He's only out there to guard James Harden. So I don't love, Ferguson. Baisley 4,500. Again, 17 minutes, 22 fantasy points. He can get it done when he's out there, but I just don't know how much time he's going to get out there. So it'd be just tournaments only. I ain't going to get too excited about it. But he showed in the bubble that he can do some things, so we'll look at that. Gallinari 6,600. I think this is a little pricey on here. We'll check FanDuel, but it put up 39 points. He did see a little bit of center against this matchup because Houston's small. So, but only 3 rebounds and 29 points. So, those rebound numbers you think could be a little bit higher. But 6,600, definitely in play. I always like playing OKC guys when they're up against Houston. So, again, I think Adams is my favorite, then Paul. Then we're probably looking at Gallinari, Schroeder, and then, a dart throw at maybe Baisley. On the Houston side, James Harden, 11-7. Now, again, they went and threw everything they could at this guy to stop him. Only 22 shots. I'd figure he'd be up to closer to 30, but shot 54%, 37 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. Put up 58 DK points. You're going to want more of that at this price tag. So, but I still think you go back to Harden here. Covington is 6K. No problem playing that. Eric Gordon, 4,900. Jeff Green, 4,800. I think these are all great guys. 32 minutes, put up 38 fantasy points. Jeff Green shot 3 from 7 from the three-point line. Shot 67% from the field. So not sure we'll see that, but I still think you can play him here. They're going to need scoring from somewhere. McLemore played 24 minutes, put up 19 fantasy points. He's 3,700, maybe a GPP play for you. Rivers is all the way down to 3,800. Only saw 19 minutes, put up 12 fantasy points. I just don't think with Gordon back, I just don't really like Rivers. Tucker at 4,400. He's still shooting those corner threes for us. 34 minutes, did put up 23 fantasy points. So, it's a Tucker. He's got a really low floor. He can put up some points once in a while. It's a playoffs. You can look at him. House 4,700. I just don't love it with Gordon back. Gordon's 4,900. Put up 30 fantasy points. I think you have to go here at Gordon. You got to give Gordon a look. He's their second option right now. So yeah, there's some pieces on this game. I think you could stack this game up pretty easily with some of the prices that we got. Let's head on over to FanDuel and look what they got for this game and see the pricing for. We'll start on the Rockets side. James Harden is 11.8. Again, he's pretty pricey over here. But again, the way that they have this set up, there's a ton of studs on this slate. And we saw Harden fail a little bit. He only put up 50 fantasy points. Again, he's going to have all the usage without Westbrook. But we still got Giannis on this slate. We got LeBron James and AD, which I probably want to go back to considering they lost to Portland. They're going to come out pissed off. So, yeah, we'll have to see how line of construction goes, but that is pricey for him. Jeff Green, 5,100, great play. Covington, 6,700, definitely in play. Gordon didn't really get a price bump over here, 4,900. No problem playing that. Tucker is center over here, which is crazy, but 4,200. I think he's got to be in your pool with how many studs. We got to find some value here. House 4,200, McLemore 37. I don't really like those plays. I think I'll stick up here to the top. Over on the other side, on the Thunder side of the ball, Chris Paul 8,200. Again, squarely in play. Put up that 50 burger. SGA, I'm just going to keep fading this. I just don't see it with Schroeder back. Adams didn't really get that much of a price bump. I think he only got maybe 700, 600. I think he's like 52 or 5,300 on Tuesday. I'll go right back to the well there. Gallinari at 6,500. He did get a little bit of a bump. He was only 5,200, so he did get a bit of a bump. That price is up where he's in play for sure, but I'm not as excited to play him. Schroeder's still 5,300. Love this price tag on him. Him and Baisley are going to be GPP plays, but more Schroeder. He can get it going. This is a great matchup for him going up and down. He just got to get his shot falling. So that's really all I would look on this side of the ball. I don't think we got to get crazy. Let's head on over to Orlando at Milwaukee. And we have a 227.5 over under with Milwaukee favored by double digits again, 12.5. You're going to have a pissed off Milwaukee team here. Giannis is 11-3. I think you're going to want some Giannis in here. I think he's going to be pretty pissed off about this and want to get this game. So 11-3. Again, to rank the studs, I'll have to see lineup construction. So, again, if you're not a part of DFSArmy, get over there, sign up, see where when the cheat sheets come out for our VIP members, I'll have a better idea of lineup construction and where I'm going to go and how heavy I'm going to go on these studs. But these slates kind of dictate towards that. Vooch 8,300. I was kind of on the fade train with this guy. Even though he's handled Lopez great in the past, I just didn't think that he was going to see enough minutes to clear that salary. But he put up 55 fantasy points on FanDuel. He's 8,300. He was close to that same price. I think he's like 82 or 8,100 last Tuesday. Or this past Tuesday. Middleton 7K. Love that. Bledsoe 5,900. I'm going to be still low on him. I still would rather pay or take that a little bit more salary and go back to Dragic. I just like him better. Bledsoe just doesn't get it for me. He'll be in the player pool, but I'll be way low on him. Brook Lopez at 5,500. He just put up an absolute turd last game. 29 minutes, put up 16 fantasy points. Absolutely horrible. It's going to be really low because of that. And then I didn't mention the injuries for this game. Apologize for that. But Michael Carter-Williams is doubtful, and Aaron Gordon is questionable. So if both these guys sit, well, I don't think Carter-Williams will play, but if Gordon sits again, we got on this before, and let's check some of these guys on the Orlando side. Fultz, 5,500. Terrence Ross, 5,300. He beat Milwaukee from the three-point line. Fournier, 5,100, was ice cold, but he did hit 3 threes in the fourth. Salvaged that prop bet that I had. 35 minutes, only put up 17 fantasy points. So he struggled a little bit. Ross did well. DJ Augustin, 4,700, had a monster game. We got on him. He was a core play on Tuesday. Put up 32 fantasy points in 23 minutes. Assists were crazy. I don't think you can expect that. Ennis, 4,300. Again, I'll go right back to Ennis, right back to Clark if Gordon are out. I love Ennis more than I like Clark, but I think you can play all of these guys on the Magic side. Mostly the guards, but we need Gordon to be out before we can jump on that. And this was an early game last week, and now it's the third game in, so that changes things a little bit. You're going to have to make that decision if we don't know that Gordon's going to sit, which makes it a little bit harder because we were able to jump on that first game and adjust our 150. It's a little bit harder to do if we don't have a good read. So you need to be in our chat room, and we will get you squared away with how to attack this and what game plan or avenue approach that you need to attack this. So, again, if Gordon's out, we're going to be heavy again on Enos, Augustin, Ross, Fultz. But Milwaukee, I just kind of can see coming out and just playing insane. And again, I'm not even going to play any of these secondary pieces or tertiary pieces for Milwaukee. I'm going to stick to Giannis and Middleton, maybe a little bit of Bledsoe, and then that's about it for me. I don't really want to play. I think we have enough value where I don't think we need to play a DiVincenzo or Connaughton. Maybe George Hill a little bit. If Bledsoe struggles, I don't mind throwing him a little bit in at 4,200. Let's head on over to DraftKings and see the pricing they have for this game. On the Orlando side, Vooch 8,800. Again, if you think it's going to stay close, play some Vooch. You saw what he can do if no Gordon. If Gordon plays, I think that's a little too pricey because Gordon will steal some shots, but his main focus is to guard Giannis at 6,700. Fournier at 5,100, Ross 4,800, Fultz 4,500, DJ 43. All those guys are squarely in play if we don't have Gordon. I still think you can play some DJ and some Ross. They would be out there, I think, even if it got a little crazy. And if Gordon sits, Enos again 4K. He's shown a lot of confidence, and that three ball is dropping. So you have to like that. And again, Gary Clark 3,300, 28 minutes, 26 fantasy points, and he only shot 33%. Shot 12 shots. All of them were from three. Didn't take any other shots. 4 for 12. Got 6 boards and a steal, 26 fantasy points. So if he's out, you got to have room to put some of these guys in. On the Milwaukee side, Giannis 11-3. So we're going to need this value if we're going to fit some of these guys in. So if we're looking for a little bit of value, probably on the Orlando side, but Brook Lopez up to 5K. He was 4,700 and killed a bunch of lineups. Bledsoe 5,300. Bledsoe a little bit. I like him a little bit more over here on DraftKings and FanDuel. Put up 28 fantasy points in 28 minutes. Could see a little bit more out of him. We talked about George Hill a little bit. He put up 27 minutes, 28 fantasy points. So, like I said, if Bledsoe struggles, they could just play more Hill here. It's the playoffs, so I kind of like that price tag on him over here. And again, or at FanDuel at 4,200. I guess it's not bad there either. Middleton at 7,200. again, fair price. I think they're going to be a little bit more aggressive on the offensive side. They really got to take this game back, and they should. I mean, Giannis is going to come out on fire, man. Just play some Giannis tomorrow. Let's head on over to the nightcap game. Portland pulled one out. This is a 229 over-under. Lakers favored by 6.5. Now, Rajon Rondo did get upgraded to questionable. So if he plays, I don't think he's fully recovered. I don't see them playing him, but I don't know. If he plays, again, you'll have to see how we break things down tomorrow. But first look, I don't think he does. LeBron James and AD, of course, are probable. They're going to play, and they're going to ball out here. And if Rondo doesn't play, it's going to be point LeBron, and he's going to do everything he can to not lose this game against Portland. So, surprisingly lost. Again, they're going to come out. On the other side, Zach Collins is injured. So, again, I don't think we'll see a ton of run there. With Portland out, with Collins out, again, we'll see probably Gabriel probably start again. And then we'll see, because they're so big, they might have more Whiteside again. They might have, they can run the two bigs. They can run Hazonia out there. There's a couple other things they can do. But let's start on the Portland side of DraftKings. 11K for Lillard. That's expensive. 51 fantasy points. I will not be on that. I will be on Harden and Giannis here before I'll pay 11K. That's a full fade for me. Nurk, 9K. Put up 39 fantasy points in 33 minutes. Again, that's a little expensive for me, but I do like he's power forward eligible over here on DraftKings, and he's not a center. TJ McCollum, 7,700, just too expensive for me. See a massive minutes, but again, that back I do worry about. Whiteside at 4,900, saw 26 minutes, put up 26 fantasy points. That's what he does. If he's going to continue to see these minutes because of how big that the Lakers are, he could be a tournament play, but you cannot play a guy like that in cash. You play a guy like Steven Adams in cash and put Whiteside as your tournament leverage. Melo at 5,900, put up 36 fantasy points, 38 minutes. Gonna see a ton. No problem going back to Melo. I think that's a fair price tag on him over here. Trent Jr., 4,800. So don't play Gabriel. Hazonia, 3,200, 12 minutes, 9 fantasy points. Trent Jr., he played 31 minutes, put up 7. That is like the floor of this guy. He's a shooter. That's it. Not a lot of peripherals. So for me, I'm sticking around with, Melo on this team, and then everybody else is a tournament option for me. I'd rather go heavier on the first 2 games for cash, and then they're kind of just overpriced in my opinion. So I think I'll just be on Melo here, and then a little bit of Whiteside in tournaments and a little bit of Nurk in tournaments, but a fade on Lillard at that price. Let's go the Lakers on DraftKings. 10-9, 10-5. I'm going to pay these prices than play 11K Lillard. LeBron James went off 41 minutes, 16 assists. Again, if there's no Rondo out there, he's going to play point guard. 23 points, 16 assists, 17 rebounds. Still couldn't get it done. And he's going to do it again. 73 points. This is the time LeBron and AD go off here. 52 fantasy points, 39. He shot 8 for 24. So AD had a rough shooting night, 33%, and still put up 52 fantasy points. A couple more buckets go in, and he's got a 60 or 65 burger. I think you can play them together. This is the team. Kuzma at 6,500, played 30 minutes, put up 26. Didn't shoot that great at 35%. I think that's a little overpriced for him. I would rather just pay up for the 2 studs here. And again, all these guards, I just can't get excited to play any of these guys. 15 minutes for Howard, put up 13 fantasy points. McGee, 13 minutes, put up 18 fantasy points. He's a monster when he gets minutes. He's 3,100. Maybe you want to put McGee in there and hope that he gets to 20 minutes and he gets you 25 fantasy points. It's possible. But a game where they need to win this, they're just going to put the team on their back, and we're going to see LeBron James and AD. And I would just stick to that and not try to pick which one of these turds are going to do something for the Lakers. So let's head on over to FanDuel real quick. But before we do that, if you're still watching, please give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll keep cranking these out for you if you like them. If there's something you got a low-own play that you think you're going to be on tomorrow, put that in the comments. I want to see where you guys' heads are at, or who you think's going to win this game. Do you think the Lakers are going to go down, or they're going to even this up? Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's head on over to Portland on FanDuel. 10K for Lillard. Nope, no thank you. Nurk, 7,700. That I can get behind a little bit over here. He's not 9K, so I can get behind a 7,700 Nurk. McCollum, 7,200. You know, in tournaments a little bit. Melo, 5,500 is way too cheap. I like that. Hassan Whiteside, I will still play. If they're going to play, throw him out there. I will still look for a little Whiteside in tournaments, but tournaments only. That's really it. I'm not paying 3,500 for Gabriel when he starts. It's just, I'm just not going to do it. 15 fantasy points in 15 minutes. It's kind of like today for Utah when they start that turd. And again, these teams are just very easy to break down. LeBron James, AD, 10-5, 10-4. You know, get a little discount off Giannis and Harden. The same kind of deal. The stud you needed last week was James, and I think with them losing, I think you can go back here. So if you want to go back to AD and LeBron, you can play them in the same lineup. That's not a problem. Kuz at 6K is a little pricey for me. And then if you're trying to punt center, like I said, McGee at 3,600, he can always luck into these games where he gets a few more minutes and he gets a 20, and he can put up 20, 25 fantasy points. And at 3,600, with fitting in some of these studs, you might need a guy like that. And then again, Howard on the other side, he's more of a tournament play. So to me, I don't want to touch Danny Green at 3,800 or Waiters or any of these turds. It's LeBron James, it's AD, and then maybe a sprinkle of McGee and Howard in the center just to try to get more studs. So that's why I'm kind of leaning on the slate. It's kind of weird because we get all the studs. You know, it's like on Tuesday trying to figure out how to fit all them studs in. I don't think it's smart to fit more than 2 in. You know, unless you can find some really cheap guys, but I didn't see a ton of value that I loved. So you're probably sitting at the 2. We need Gordon to sit out, so we have that Orlando cheapness, I guess you want to call it. So with that, this is the first look for Thursday, and I will see you over at DFS Army. Thank you. Deuces.